Okay, so here's the thing we're not considering.
Okay.
We're always like, Selena can't be the best assassin. What if all the other assassins legitimately suck? Okay. Chapter 19. We'll get in now.
19 of 29.
Oh, we're 10 chapters away, 11 chapters away. Oh. Chapter 19. Chaol stood before the king's throne, almost bowing himself to tears as he gave yesterday's report. You know, one of the things I've been learning in my classes is when you do like a presentation or a report, storytelling is really important.
It's essential.
Like when you're presenting data, you have to have a story, beginning, middle, end. I think Chaol would really benefit from attending one of my classes.
The thing is, it's a bit different. It's not really a presentation, it is a report.
It's a report, but
reports can be reimagined.
Yeah, why can't... Hey, it's a fantasy land. Why can't the reports be interesting, guys?
Yeah.
He tried not to think about last night, how the brief touch of Selena's fingers through his hair and on his face had sent a pang
So he wasn't actually asleep.
Had sent a pang of desire through him so strong he wanted to grab her and pin her to the couch.
Oh my goodness. Censor that, please. I'm going to censor that. He wanted to grab her and blink, beep, to the couch, just so everybody's confused.
He wanted to grab her and
her to the couch.
Her to the couch. It had taken him all of his self-control to keep his breathing steady, to keep pretending that he was asleep. That's kind of freaky. Unless he was like, man, how do I get out of this situation? Oh no, I've gone to sleep. Clearly that's not what he was into.
Please, leave my room. You've eaten half the cake.
After she'd left, his heart had been pounding so hard, it took him an hour to calm down enough to actually sleep. Lightweight. That took him an hour. That's easy talk.
Oh, he's excited.
Damn. It only took you an hour to calm himself down, so-called. Looking at the king now, Chaol was glad he'd controlled himself. The line between him and Selena was there for a reason. Crossing it could call into question his loyalty to the king before him, Not to mention the way it would impact his friendship with Dorian.
You don't have to read quite that loud.
The prince had...
Not quite that softly either.
The prince had made himself scarce this past week. Chaol would have made a point today to go see him. Chaol would have to make a point to go see him. Dorian and the king were where his loyalty lay. Without his... the king, who we don't even know the name of. Without loyalty...
I just made a sex joke there while I was waiting for you to flip the page.
What was it?
What about his what? His what is so important to the king and prince?
Without his loyalty, he was no one.
That kind of loyalty.
Without it, he'd given up his family, his title, for nothing. Chaol finished explaining his security plans for the carnival that would arrive today.
Dang, man, party after party.
Party after party.
They are panem et... Latin word for wine, and panem and et winding it up.
Well, why? And it sounds like they aren't, is he just doing a review for the king? Oh, are they just, coming up with the plan and getting it passed off the day the event's happening? Shout out procrastination, I completely understand them.
It should have been passed off well before. But they have yet to have a serious problem, so they aren't really prepared yet.
Very well, Captain. Make sure your men watch the castle grounds, too. I know what sort of filth likes to travel with these carnivals, and I don't want them wandering around. Chaol bowed his head. Consider it done.
Consider
it done. Normally, the king would dismiss him with a grunt and a rave. But today, the man merely studied him, an elbow propped on the arm of his glass throne. After a moment of silence,
Oh, they must get so sweaty. In the summer, especially. Disgusting.
It's like you're in a dish.
You're in a greenhouse.
After a moment of silence, during which Chaol wondered if a castle spy had somehow been looking through the keyhole when Selena touched him, the king spoke.
Actually, the spy was looking through the thin gap at the bottom of the door.
Of the impenetrable doll?
Yeah.
Princess Nehemia needs to be watched. Of all the things the king could have said, that was not what Kale had expected.
Fool.
He kept his face blank and did not question the words that implied so much. Oh, influence is starting to be felt in these halls. And
What
I am
influence?
beginning to
seen
wonder
any of that.
if perhaps the time has come to remove her back to Elway. I know that we already have some men watching her, but I've also received word that there was an anonymous threat on her life. Questions roared through him, along with the rising sense of dread. Who had threatened her? What had Nehemia said or done to warrant the threat?
Dude, you're stupid.
Chaos stiffened.
Again, we know he has a weird kink.
I haven't heard anything about that.
You haven't heard anything? We literally talk about it at least once a week.
The king smiled. No one has. Not even the princess herself. It seems she's made some enemies outside the palace as well.
Ooh, I am damaging this squeezy toy. I will stop.
I'm
just so frustrated.
No, it's now. I got it for free. It was placed into my hands, so. I'll have extra guards watch her room and patrol her wing of the castle. I'll alert her immediately of M-. There was no need to alert her or anyone. The king gave him a pointed look. She may try to use the fact that someone wants her dead as a bargaining chip, M-. Might try to make herself into a martyr of sorts. So tell your men to stay quiet. He didn't think Nehemia would do that, but Kale kept his mouth shut.
Why is Nehemia used for guard?
He'd tell his men to be discreet, and he wouldn't tell the princess M-, or Selena, just because he was friendly with Nehemia, just because she was Selena's friend. It didn't change anything. While he knew that Selena would be furious that he didn't tell her, he was captain of the guard, and he had fought and sacrificed nearly as much as Selena to get into this position.
Really?
Has he? He hasn't even killed anyone.
He's killed someone, but not to get into the position.
He'd let her go. He'd let her get too close by asking her to dance, M-. He'd let himself get too close.
Gosh, and it's all off again, on again, off again, on again. Bleh.
Captain. Kale blinked, then bowed low. You have my word, your majesty. Beth, we're used to our silly little fix where someone will be in love with someone else for 300 years without stopping her. 300 years before it's even required. That's the.
I don't like the off and on again.
Love comes on, love comes off. Section break. Dorian panted, swinging the sword through the air in a precise parry that sent the guard scrambling. His third match, and his third opponent about to go down. He hadn't slept last night, nor had he been able to sit still this morning.
He's so full of energy. Someone juiced him up with coffee.
Mm-hmm. Cocaine Dorian?
Cocaine Dorian.
Someone get fentanyl Dorian next. So he'd come to the barracks, hoping to have someone wear him down enough for exhaustion to take over. Hey, yo! You know what? I respect it. There is a little bit of issue with you being the, employer's son and the crown prince. But, maybe there's already been a situation arranged. Damn.
If only. If only it were that kind of book. Also, though, I think I'd be really uncomfortable reading that kind of a book.
Yeah, well...
Fic is different.
What?
Fic is different.
Fic is different. The difference is it's fun to be like... It's like when we were out of that shop. It's fun to make the joke of it. Not necessarily as fun to see right in front of you.
Yeah.
He parried and deflected the guard's assault.
He parried and deflected?
Yeah.
He did.
Both?
Both?
He did. It says it right here on the text, page 151.
Dang.
It had to be a mistake Maybe he dreamed it all up. Maybe it was just a combination of the right elements at the wrong time. Magic was gone, and there was no reason that he should have that power. Not even his father had been gifted with magic.
I hate
what
how
about
they
his
just always
mother?
keep trying to explain things away. They're always like, no, it can't possibly be that. It can't possibly. And it's so like so obviously like, oh my gosh, you're so stupid.
God, this minute something fucked up happened. I need a fight. I would have prepared that, you know. Magic had been dormant in the Havilard bloodline for generations. Dormant, but still there.
Yeah, fool.
Idiot. What do you think dormant things do? The main thing that dormant things do? I'll wake up.
Is stay there.
Until they wake up. Dorian got past the guard's defense in an easy maneuver. Though the young man raised his hands in defeat, when the young man raised his hands in defeat, the prince had to wonder if he'd let him win.
Huh?
This thought sent a growl rippling through him. He was about to demand another match when someone sauntered over to them.
Another.
Mind if I join?
Roland?
Dorian stared at Roland, whose rapier looked like it had hardly ever been used. Yeah, that's because I keep good care of my tools.
Literally, he polishes, he shines.
If you want your tool to take care of you, you gotta take care of your tool.
He makes sweet, caring love to it.
That goes to many things, as you'll learn one day, Dorian. The guard took one
like, please
look
don't.
at Dorian's face, bowed, and found someplace else to be. Dorian watched his cousin, the black ring on Roland's finger. I don't think you want to dance with me today, cousin. Ah, Roland said, frowning. About yesterday. I'm sorry for that. Had I known the labor camp...
You need to make him sound less masculine.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Ah, Roland said, frowning.
Much better.
About that, ... I'm sorry for that. Had I known the labor camps were such a sensitive matter for you, I would never have broached the subject or work with Counselor Mollison, while you were around, that is.
Didn't say that.
I called off the vote after... It didn't say that. I called off the vote after you left. Mollison was furious. Dorian raised his brows.
I don't know, I feel like the king has to be the one to call the
Oh?
vote.
Oh, that's so true. Well, no, this is
It's
the
a
king.
democracy.
The king is delegating.
Ah, and he's serious about that delegation.
Yeah, he's like, once I delegate it, if you ever bring that subject back up to me, I'll kill you.
I want nothing more to do with it.
I will kill you.
It is yours to handle as you see fit.
Roland shrugged. You were right. You were right. I don't know anything about what... I don't know anything about what it's like in those camps. I only took it up because parenting suggested I work with Mollison, who stood to gain a lot from the expansion because of his ties to the iron industry.
I didn't know what I was doing.
And I'm supposed to believe you?
Yes?
Roland gave him a winning smile. We are family, after all. Family. Dorian had never really considered himself to be in an actual family, and certainly not now. If anyone found out about what had happened in that hallway yesterday, about the magic he might have, his father would kill him. He had a second son, after all. Families weren't exactly supposed to think that way. Think like that,
and
were
a nephew.
they? And a nephew. Dorian had gone looking for Nehemia last night out of desperation, but in the light of the morning, he was grateful he hadn't seen her. If the princess had that sort of information about him, he could use it to her advantage. Blackmail him all she wanted. See, this is a situation that happens in a different series I read, the Dartless Path series.
Uh-huh.
And the whole issue with, like, this, basically a lady's maid, knowing that the prince has magic. And, like, the kind of issues where they're like, we have to either kill her, wipe her memory, or like, find something big enough that we can hold over her so she won't ever report him.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. I liked it. Was an interesting plot point. It was kind of consistent throughout the series. Well, like the book and a half that it was relevant in. I liked it. I just don't think it's going to come up that much in this book. We'll see what happens, though.
Well, yeah, she doesn't have anything to hold over him.
Oh, wait, that's so true.
That's literally what this was just saying.
I forgot. Okay, listen. It could have been cool if it happened, if she knew. But
it wouldn't have been, though, because this is Maas.
It wouldn't have been. I could be reading The Dauntless Path right now.
I could be reading Tristan as an Adult. Translated by someone. I forgot his name already.
And Roland, ... Dorian began walking away. Why don't you save your maneuvering for someone who cares? Roland kept pace beside him. Ah, but who else is more worthy than my own cousin? What greater challenge than winning you over to my schemes? Dorian shot him a warning glance and found the young man grinning. If only you'd seen the chaos that erupted after you left, Roland went on.
A chaos demon?
As long as I live, I'll never forget the look on your father's face when you growled at all of them. That's because the king is like, oh my goodness, my son is a fool here.
He's growling in public?
Get your fucking dog, bitch.
It a bite.
Yes, it do. Roland laughed, and despite himself, Dorian found a smile tugging on his lips. I thought the old bastard would combust right there.
The bombastic bastard.
Mr. Bombastic. Dorian shook his head. He's hanged men for calling him such names, you know. Wrong, Dorian. The king has hanged men because it's fun. The king does not hang men because they call him names. He hangs men because it's fun.
So true. So true.
He should really learn from the terror.
The terror, capital T terror. With his brown tinkle cola.
I can't wait to watch the next episode. Let's see, I thought he'd... Yes, but when you're as handsome as I am, dear cousin, you'd be surprised by how much more you can get away with.
Dang, pretty privilege?
Oh, yeah.
In this book?
Oh, yeah.
Someone's actually addressing it?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
I'm shocked that somebody brought it up.
Oh, yeah. Dorian...
You're just saying that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Read.
Dorian rolled his eyes, but considered his cousin for a few moments. Roland might be close with Pellington and his father, but ... Perhaps he'd just been pulled into Pellington's schemes and needed someone to steal him right. And if his father and the other councilmen thought they could use Roland to win support for their dark dealings, well, then it was time for Dorian to play that game too.
He's got dark dealings?
He could turn his father's pawn against him. Between the two of them, surely they could sway enough of the council to oppose more unsavory proposals.
Not if it affects the council's pocketbook.
You really called off the vote? Roland waved a hand. I think you're right that we're pushing our luck with the other kingdoms. If we want to keep control, we need to find a balance. Shoving them into slavery won't help. It might just turn more people towards rebellion.
So true.
Dorian nodded slowly and paused. I have somewhere to be, he lied, sheathing his sword. Man, they've been walking this whole time with his sword out. That is not safe practices.
So
that is not safe sword range.
Roland's clothes, so I'm assuming he's just carrying this
rapier. Again, yeah, just said he came up with a rapier looking never used. He's from that nudist colony.
Oh my gosh, the nudist colony in Essex.
No, in Meh.
In Meh, you're right.
Isn't it dreadfully damp?
Does it matter? Yes, if you have no clothes. I should think so, if you have no clothes.
But perhaps I'll see you in the hall for dinner. Roland gave him an easy smile. I'll try to muster up a few lovely ladies to keep us company. Dorian waited until Roland was around the corner before heading outside. They were inside training?
That was not made clear. I guess they were inside fighting in the mess hall that's not being used currently. Push the tables to the side. Training rinks.
I assume they were outside. Oh, no, but it is wintry. I still assume they'd be outside.
Yeah, that was absolutely not made clear.
The carnival. His mother had commissioned for Holland, her belated Yormas present for him, had finally arrived. It was not a massive carnival. Only a few black tents, a dozen cage wagons, and 5 covered wagons had been set up in the open courtyard. The whole thing was rather somber, despite the fiddle swaying away and the merry shouts of the walkers scrambling to finish setting up the tents in time to surprise Holland that evening. People hardly looked Dorian's way as he meandered through the throng.
Through the thong. Whoa!
Then again, he was dressed in sweaty old clothes and had his cloak wrapped tightly around him.
Is this Dorian still?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, is this like a short cloak? Or if it's tapped right tightly around him, what does the sweaty old clothes have to do with anything? Because it seems like you wouldn't be able to see the sweaty old clothes if the cloak is tightly around him. Unless they're serious about them being sweaty and he is just... he just reeks.
The latter.
He's stinky.
The latter.
You know that Maas likes those stinky men.
We know that Kale likes it stinky.
Man, this book is so dumb. Let's see, tightly wrapped around him.
Mm-hmm.
Only the guards, highly trained and aware of everything, noticed him, but they understood his need for anonymity without being told.
Yeah, no, that's not true.
What's not true?
They just understand. They can't. If they're highly trained, one would think they would stop any suspicious behavior, even if it is from the prince, because they are highly trained and skilled, not automatically know what he wants. Telepathy ain't a thing, because magic was destroyed.
It is between lovers, so...
I guess if he goes to the barracks often enough.
Well, no, it's transitive, so he just needs one to be a lover. If there's a level network. Solely professionally for telecommunication between the god network. Yeah.
So is the king in the network too?
No.
Is he in a different network?
Perhaps.
Maybe.
A stunningly beautiful woman walked out of one of the tents, blonde, slender, tall, and dressed in fine riding clothes.
Wow.
A mountain-sized man also emerged, carrying long poles of iron that Dorian doubted most men could even lift.
I need him to throw a pole of iron and skewer somebody.
Dorian passed one of the large covered wagons, pausing at the words written in white paint on its site. Is that super beautiful person
one of the witches?
Probably not.
Or
depends. Does she have iron teeth?
I just mean she's gonna be a magical thing.
The carnival of mirrors. See illusions and reality collide. He frowned. Had his mother put a moment's consideration into the gift, into how it might appear and the message it would send? Carnivals, with their illusions and tricks, always pushed the limit of outright treason. Dorian snorted.
Really?
Perhaps he belonged in one of these cages, because it's so close to magic, a little bit sleight of hand will get that hand chopped clean off in this kingdom.
Ooh.
A hand landed on his shoulder, and Dorian whirled to find Kale smiling at him.
Attracted, you noticed, by the pheromones.
Yeah.
The stench.
the stinky boy. I thought I'd find you here. He wasn't surprised in the least that K.O. had recognized him. Because you're wearing a cloak and you're stinky.
Also,
K.O.'s
your face is fully exposed.
K.O. is your best friend. He can smell, he can see you through the stench.
His face is very recognizable, too.
K.O.'s like, man, he's so stinky, my eyes are watering. It can only be one man. Hey, bestie. See, you still have those old training clothes from years ago. Dorian was about to smile back when he noticed who was with the captain.
Selena? Nehemia?
Selena was standing at one of the covered wagons, listening through the black velvet curtains to whatever was inside. What are you two doing here so early? The unveiling's not until nightfall. Nearby, the gargantuan man began hammering foot-long spikes into the frozen earth.
Foot long, not very long. I don't think that's big enough to hold the tent.
Foot long?
It's like...
That's like that long. That's shorter than the tents we use, the stakes we use at the festival.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, it totally is. Also like 18 inches. And I'll have you know... Listen, if these are the same spikes he saw the man...
It kind of seems like that's the implication.
That's the
implication. He's a giant man, those should have been, like, hidden in his hand.
Carrying, well, it said long poles of iron. Long poles of iron, and then these are foot-long spikes. So I guess they may not be the same.
Maybe those are center poles. Should have used wood.
Well,
balsa wood.
Should have used hollow aluminum, like the ones we use.
Should have used hollow aluminum.
Aluminum tubes. She wanted a walk, and M-dash.
And I treat her better than she treats her dog.
Dorian suddenly gave a violent curse. K.O. gave a violent curse. Mother trucker, that hurt like a butt-cheek on a stick.
Out of the way, Dorian.
Dorian didn't particularly want to, but he followed after K.O. as he stalked to Selena and yanked her arm away from the black curtain. "You lose your hand like that," the captain warned her, and she glared at him.
Ooh, Reese's macaques? That's what's in there.
What's a Reese's?
She's gonna get simian herpes B virus and die.
By losing her hand?
I mean, she might lose a hand to an infection, but she'll be bitten and get deadly infection.
By what kind of creature?
A macaque.
What does it look like?
A monkey.
What kind of monkey?
Pull up a picture.
Okay.
Keep going.
Then she gave Dorian a closed-lipped smile that felt more like a wince. He hadn't lied to her last night about wanting to see Nehemia, but he'd also found himself waiting to see her, M-dash, until she appeared with that ridiculous half-eaten cake, which she clearly had plans to devour in private. You know, he could be less judgy, you know? Like, so what? She's an assassin. Think of the guilt. If I was an assassin, I'd have a cake in private. He couldn't begin to imagine how she'd look at him if she found out he might, M-dash, he kept telling himself, M-dash, have some trace of magic within him. Well, that's not the only thing you have within him. Mm-hmm. Nearby, the beautiful blonde woman perched on a stool and began playing the lute.
Okay, ready for a picture?
Yes.
So there's a variety of species of macaque. So they look different, but here's one. So they're a true monkey. They've got, they're old world monkey.
Oh, old world, okay.
They've got
Oh, new world monkeys, true monkeys?
Yes, I think so.
So it's old world, that means they don't have they don't have prehensile tails.
Correct.
But they do have opposable thumbs, maybe?
Yeah.
It switches around, because I think New World don't have opposable thumbs, but they have prehensile tails.
Oh, I don't know.
There's something where New World has prehensile tails and not something else, and Old World don't have prehensile tails, but they do have something else.
Ah. Yeah, so they're small, brownish monkeys. They are notorious for carrying herpes B virus, which is quite deadly in humans. So don't get bit. I
might. Okay, this is just me being nitpicky. I feel like there's a lot of times where in this book it says, like, here's an example. The woman, beautiful blonde woman, perched on a stool and began playing the lute. And I'm probably just being picky. But it seems like they haven't mentioned the lute before, so it should be saying playing a lute. Or at the beginning of a sentence, it says, Dorian leaned against the wall. When, like, this is our first time in this scene, there hasn't been a wall established. Or Dorian, like, swung the sword. Well, it feels like the sword hasn't already been established, so it should be a sword. I'm sure I'm being nitpicky, but to me, it just feels like there's a lot of words where it's like, I would use a, or the, and like switch whatever it's actually saying.
What if they're playing the piano grande? Can they say the piano grande?
I don't know.
I mean forte. The piano forte.
It depends.
A piano forte? Not right. It's the piano forte.
It's the piano forte. Anyway, that's just me being nitpicky, though.
Yeah.
The lute.
You are being nitpicky, but it's approved.
He knew that the men, M-, and guards, M-,
are the guards not also men?
Starting to flock to her weren't just there for the lovely music. I thought these guards were highly trained. Yeah, they're not men. They're actually all eunuchs. That's how you know you have a big, powerful guard.
We've got another singer. Mere chapters after the last singer who had enchanting music.
Tolkien-sounding ass, all this magical music.
Hey, take not the name of Tolkien in vain.
Tolkien-sounding ass.
Take not the name of J.R.T. There we go.
Jort.
Take not the name of J.R.T. in vain.
I'll take whatever I want in vain from him. I poo-poo on him.
How much further we got? We're at 31 minutes right now.
We got 3 pages.
So like 6 pages?
No, 3. 1 spread, 2 spread.
So 6 pages?
6 pages.
We're gonna stop here for recording length, and we'll continue in the next one.